Oh. Ooh. I do believe we are live, my friend.
Well, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
I am here. These days, that seems like an important step one.
Right. But then again, you're not going anywhere.
Right. I am always here. I am always exactly right fucking here.
Yep.
The monotony is really starting to kick my ass. I'm going to be honest.
It's kicking my ass too, for shizzle, for sure.
Oh my God. I mean, I can feel both of our energy. We're both like, oh my God. Okay. Let me decide to give a shit. All right. For all of you.
Okay.
That's what
I give a shit too.
All right. That's our commitment to you. So you guys put in the comments, are you committed to us for these next 30 minutes to give a shit? We need you. We need your energy.
We have to watch the language because an incel, one of those freaky guys that hates women, and wrote to me from on my Facebook Live, and he said, maybe your friends aren't tuning in because you have such a potty mouth. So then I looked it up, his profile. It was complicated and no pictures of him. And I was like, check, incel. So if we could just watch the language. I'll watch the language. You say whatever you want to say. How about that?
Hold on. You're taking notes from what I can tell is a bot?
Was it a bot? But why would a bot? Isn't a bot's not a person?
No, but a bot can put together full sentences and make you think that they're a person, but then you go to their profile and they have no picture and no friends and no information. That's a bot.
Yeah, but a bot was listening intently for the 20 minutes I was doing a live and wrote specifically, maybe your friends aren't liking and supporting you because you have such a potty mouth.
Okay, so you're taking that note to heart, just to be clear. You're taking that and saying, okay, I'm going to change because of this feedback I got on the internet?
Well, I'd like my mom and her friends to watch too. Maybe my mom, hired the bot, or one of her friends, or my aunt. My Aunt Barbara thinks I'm filthy, which is, she has no idea. She's living on a lily white lily pad. Anyway, I'm just trying to reach the masses and maybe have one of my friends actually like and support this. I know you are way more confident than I am.
Marla.
And that leads us into...
Yeah, you're how old? What are you, 13?
I'm 15, yes. 15 years old. It triggered me, wanting to be friends with all the popular people, take everything to heart, a late bloomer. I thought I was a hermaphrodite because I didn't have my period.
Shut up.
Swear to God, no boobs, no period. I feel like I'm an insecure 15-year-old.
Stuck in the woods.
Stuck in the woods and getting haunted by a spirit that I captured on video, and the spirit came through Teddy. And it's called I made a movie unbeknownst to me called the Blair Witch Dog Project. So yeah, I feel 15 because I'm freaked the F out. I'm freaked AF.
Okay. Did you play light as a feather, stiff as a board and things like that? Were you a Ouija board fan when you were a teenager?
Yeah, Ouija boards freaked me out. I did it 3 times and I had a panic attack, but I never heard light as a feather. I just remember the thing moving.
The light as a feather, stiff as a board is when one person lays flat on the ground and then everyone comes around them and you're supposed to only use like 2 fingers and supposedly you can lift them up. What about?
Did it.
You did?
Did it, and it works.
Have you done it recently?
No, I'd love to. Once I can get out of, quarantine prison.
And we can touch each other again.
Yeah, but in hazmat suits and, full gloves and mask and a face shield. I stress getting a face shield if you go out in public.
I didn't play. I mean, I did play Ouija board and light as a feather, stiff as a board. I loved that. But what I didn't ever do was the, I think it was Bloody Mary, whatever you were supposed to say 3 times in the mirror. And then like she was supposedly this thing would appear. I would always get to the second time and be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So that was the one that I didn't do.
But devil occult stuff, I remember my parents had the paperback version of The Exorcist, the book, and it was a purple cover. And then there was like this teeny little picture. It was like a little teeny square, and it looked like Kazoo from, I think, the Jetsons or something, a cartoon, but it looked like a semi-formed pulpe devil, and the thing freaked me out. I couldn't even touch the book. So this stuff flips me out.
See, that's interesting, because last week, viewers, if you'll recall, you were very hesitant about the whole bird coming back and being a spirit, but it seems like you're into the whole spirit thing.
I am into the spirit thing. It freaks me out. Then I panic, and the spirit leaves. And then I was just like, God, why couldn't I have just been like chill and had a conversation with the spirit? But I told you, my best friend Sam, who died, visited me and sent me signs where my cell phone blasted off Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's true.
So I'm into it.
You're into it. All right, you're into it. Okay, how old I feel this week is how whatever age you are when you realize you're surrounded by morons and there's nothing you can do about it, whatever age that is how old I feel this week.
Oh, for me, that was 7. That was 7. I realized I marched to the beat of my own drummer. I had to get a lot of people to join the band. Yeah, I was 7. I just was like, you're not doing it, you know, it's my way or the highway, which I got from my dad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just like, the not being able to travel, he has built an invisible wall, one that keeps us in.
Yep.
Like seeing things close down again, Cirque du Soleil bankrupt, Broadway not opening till January earliest.
Terrible.
Oh my God. And then it's still, you want to talk to me about the CO2 from the mask?
Right. Well, that's the deep state. That's the deep state. But I do want to say one thing about Cirque du Soleil. You know what? First of all, where are all those flexible people going to go? You know where? They're going to flood our yoga classes. And then I'm going to be like, how come they can do a pretzel knot standing on one leg? And I'm going to be in compare and despair, like, God, I'm not flexible. And I don't want to smell their asses or their, vegetarian food that they consume to stay have just perfect bodies and be so flexible.
Always with the smells with you, the bodily smells. You know where Cirque du Soleil dancers are going to end up? They're going to end up on OnlyFans.
What's that?
OnlyFans is where it's not always strippers and porn and cam girl type stuff, but it was founded on that idea. But then it's also being treated as like Patreon type stuff. Like some comics have an OnlyFans page, and from what I understand, they're not getting naked and doing comedy. They're only providing content. But if I'm just saying, if I were a dancer out of work right now, I'd be seriously considering that option.
I'm wondering if I should have a page just saying, help me get bikini body ready, and just have all these people pay to see me, as committing myself to my fans to see me work my, to get back into shape and lose the tire. around the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what kinds of fans you would end up having on there and if they'd be the ones that you want, but you'd get people wanting to watch that 100%. There's an audience for
Okay.
everything.
You know, I just grab the muffin top and say, today we're starting with, look, I can make lips. Mwah,
I'm
mwah,
telling you there's an audience for that. Yes.
I mean, somebody that would want to have sex with my muffin top, because I know there's guys that are into, you know, doing it between the boobs.
Tony and Sally, we're taking this show in a different direction starting next week. We just wanted you to have a little heads up.
Wait, I got to share it. Let me share it. I think
right.
We're here.
All right. Well, yeah, we're there. While you share it, I'm going to set up this week's Dead to Me episode. You guys, if you're not watching along with us, I really, really encourage you to do so. We're watching Dead to Me from the beginning. We're on episode 4. And this show is starring Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini. It is created and written by Liz Feldman. It is our favorite show.
Yes.
Because they are strong women characters. They are interesting dynamics in each other's lives. And then the writing is just, you know,
superb.
This week, it surrounds Jenn, who's played by Christina Applegate, learning that her dead husband, who was killed by Judy, she doesn't know that yet, in a hit and run, was cheating on her.
Yes.
Now, Marla.
What?
Are you a Judy or a Jenn when it comes to this episode?
100% Jenn. 100% Jenn. But at the end, I'm definitely a Judy.
Ooh, what about the end?
Well, shouldn't we talk about the beginning first?
Okay,
and then we can keep it chronologically.
Sure. Why Jenn? Why Jenn at the beginning then?
Why Jenn? Because just her reactions. I mean, finding out that her husband, I'm finding out if I uncovered that my boyfriend, husband, or partner was cheating on me.
Yeah.
Because I would just be I would need confirmation. So I would definitely call a girlfriend over to be like, okay, what do you think about this? All right. Anger. And then wanting to slip right into going to give somebody a beat down. Yeah. That's me.
Yes. Agreed.
And just be committed to being pissed, feeling betrayed, wanting to take action, and not apologizing. What about you?
So wait, are you in that scenario feeling only anger toward the woman?
No, anger towards the woman, my husband, partner, life, myself. How could I miss the warning signals? How did I miss the red flags?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of that.
Yeah.
That I would be angry on so many levels.
Right. Kicking your own ass.
Oh, without a doubt.
I am also 100% Jenn in this, and I have had that almost exact scenario happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was cleaning out a closet in my old apartment, and I found a homemade Valentine's Day card from another woman to my man. And
hello.
The shit that threw me was I immediately wanted to find out who she was, not to kick her ass, but to let her know what was going on, because the card, it was an adorable card. She made like a playbill, and it was like honoring the first act of their relationship and like talking about what the second act was going to be about. And it was like this beautiful homemade card. And I was like, hold on, this woman has no idea that I exist. And they're having a full blown, and I had been, as I said last week, painting the red flags white in this relationship for a very long time. So this was the thing that I was like, all right, Jen, how about you wake the hell up? And what happens in this episode that I really, really felt was when Jen is sitting in the restaurant. So they go to this restaurant to find the waitress, which I ended up going to the bar. I forget how I figured out who the chick was, but I went to the bar to try and find her and just let her know what was up. But you could see when Jen realized, oh, this is not only happening, but I had no idea it was happening for a year and a half.
Yep.
That cracks her trust in her own intuition. Like you could tell in that moment, she was like, what the fuck do I know then? Like I must not, I can't trust anything. And the dynamic between Jen and Judy, that really helps Judy's case with being able to like, kind of manipulate Jen into trusting her even more.
Yep.
But in my scenario, when I went to the bar, unfortunately, the woman / young woman was no longer working there. So I couldn't say anything to her, but my boyfriend was not killed in a hit and run. He was very alive and well. And so I waited for him to come home, and he came home at like 5 a.m. because he was doing that to me at that point. And he told me that they weren't doing anything and they had only ever shared intimate hugs.
What the hell is an intimate hug?
What is an intimate hug? Was my
That's like cuddling after sex. That's an intimate hug.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yes, it was. It was the most gaslighty. I was like, oh, wow, you will commit to me never being right, my intuition never being right. You will commit to that to the end. And he did. But that was the end of the relationship. Thank God. It took that though. It took the physical. I needed the physical evidence to convince myself it was happening.
You needed to be sucker punched. What happened to me is I was getting gaslight. I'll be back, this and that. I came back to New York. I found a negligee in the bed, unmade bed, and like a fake diamond stud. And I was like, oh, he lets his brother stay here. And maybe his brother and his girlfriend stayed here. And the housekeeper didn't come and clean. And then all of a sudden I was like, ugh. You know, when you're sucker punched and you're just like, you know, whatever, the universe is like, wake the F up.
Yep.
And I called my girlfriend and she goes, and then she just reiterated what I was, you know, the lie I was telling myself until I walked over and I thought I came back to New York because we were bi-coastal. And he's like, let's celebrate your birthday. And I got there and he goes, just meet me at Starbucks. And he handed me a balloon, 1 Mylar balloon, because he's a piece of shit and he's cheap. And he broke up with me on my birthday. And I called up my friend. I was just holding the balloon on the corner, like snotting and crying. And people were, and people were like, oh my God, I bet that guy dumped her on her birthday. And I called my friend. I mean, I was like, bawling, like frozen outside of Starbucks. And I called my friend and I'm like, you are wrong. I was wrong. And she had to come get me. And I packed up and I got my stuff out. It was horrible. You know, how did you miss it? Why did you ignore it? It's the worst betrayal because it's like a double whammy. You betray yourself and you're being betrayed by the person who you think loves you.
Yes.
Sucks. It takes forever to get over.
It kicked my ass, but it really sped up my self growth.
Yeah.
Because it got me in therapy. Because I was like, all right, this is not the first toxic relationship I've found myself in. And there's only one common denominator in all of these relationships. So let's take a look, see under the hood, shall we? So yeah, it sucked. It brought me to my knees in ways that I had never really understood heartbreak, I don't think, until that one, because it was I was completely blindsided. Even though he was gaslighting me, even though things seemed obvious, friends had said, hey, I don't like him so much. I was just so convinced that no one would ever do that to me. Like I was so special.
Right.
That no one would.
He'll do it to somebody else, but he won't do it to me. Oh yeah. That's called like battered woman or battered partner syndrome.
Oh, great.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But it's also, emotional battering. Everybody hated this guy and nobody would hold back. My mother goes, that guy is so cheap. We were using my parents' car. We got a parking ticket in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, no, I'll take care of it. My mother gets a notice and she goes, he is so cheap and he doesn't honor his word. I mean, everybody was like, break up with him. So there you have it.
Yeah, I know. People know. But then after it did happen and I did break up with him and I started telling some of my friends what was going on, one of my friends was like, oh yeah, I had seen him around the neighborhood with another girl like several times. I was wondering what was going on. I was like, yo, what? Like no heads up. And so I wanted to get mad, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know that I wouldn't have believed him. I probably would have somehow written it off that, oh yeah, he has friends in the neighborhood, whatever. I wasn't going to see it until I saw it.
I hoped you dumped that friend in a hot minute, because that's not a chick who has your back.
Well,
way.
It was a guy friend. And we're not as close anymore just because life, but I didn't blame it on anyone. At the end of the day, it was me not being willing to see what was right in front of my face. You know, it's pointless for me to point at someone else and be like, why didn't you prevent this pain? I don't know. If I knew that's one of my good friends that was happening to, I don't know. I mean, I think I would tell.
You know what? I learned a very big lesson, and that is that if one of your besties is dating somebody you don't like, and if they share, I can't believe he did this and this and this, what I've learned to say is, do you want me to comment? Do you want me to just listen? Do you want feedback? And if they say feedback, you have to really tread lightly, because gaslighting, you hear the same story over and over and over. You can't say leave him, because if she or he decides to stay and you said something really disparaging, she's going to be angry at you, not herself. Or she could eat cupcakes like I've done, and she'll take the guy, the girl, her partner back. You know what I mean? You have to tread lightly.
Okay, but if that friend was being cheated on, would you tell her?
Yeah. But again, shoot the messenger. Why is that a cliche?
Right. And you also don't know if maybe that's their deal. Maybe that's actually okay in their relationship.
Right. So would you tell somebody if you saw them out?
I can't say that it's a blanket yes. For my good girlfriends, yes, I would. I would still tread lightly, and I'd be like, hey, it would be a lot of disclaimers. I don't know if I'm not sure what I saw. I just feel, it would be like a lot of, here's the information.
Yeah. I don't know if they're kissing cousins. Where is he from? Is he from down south? Like, is it his assistant? I mean, I know he's very physical and he's like, very, but does he make out with his sister? Does he make, yes, tons and tons and tons of disclaimers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. By the way, I just peeked down and we're getting lots of smiles and laughters and
Yes.
thank you. You're helping my confidence. I just need approval. That's why I'm a stand-up comic.
We're coming back to life minute by minute. Belinda Filippelli is here. She gifted me this shirt. This is a check shirt that says money in check. So if anyone's wondering.
Belinda, I'm a size large because I got huge fun bags. Tell me how much it is with the shipping and I'll Venmo you. I would love one.
Okay.
If
So
that's okay.
It's a Czech artist who she is friends with. So I'm sure she could hook you up.
Okay.
You mentioned that you were Judy by the end of the episode though. So talk about that.
Okay. Because I can be sneaky and crafty, and I always said when I came to the precipice of, could I use my powers for good or evil? Could I be a law-abiding citizen or, a white-collar criminal? I decided, to go the good route. But when she was in the car and she was about to tell what she did, and she then decided to share that Ted had told Bambi that his wife had double mastectomy, died of cancer, and he was a widower for the last year and a half. And then and then Jenn's reaction of, you know what, I'm glad he's dead. And the look of relief on Judy's face, as if, it was preordained from the universe and it gave her permission to let it go, that she wound up killing her husband because they hadn't met their soul connection / friends, that she wound up doing a favor. So the justification and getting rid of the stress and the fact that she could now drive again spoke volumes. So I could see myself doing that to get out of a real huge F up, providing, it's like, could I lie to a super good friend or a family member? No, but in the business world or somebody that may have done something to me, I think I could justify it and live with it. What about you?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if the word is justify, but when you do feel like cleansed or relieved of that guilt, which she started to try to do last episode by saying, I'm guilty, I did it, I'm guilty, I did it. And then this, having that permission to let it go because, oh, well, he was a bad guy anyway. Oh, he was, he's not worthy of whatever. I think it's an interesting conversation of when you do have a guilty conscience.
Yeah.
It's not always that other person's business for you to have to, I believe that it's not always you have to go tell them in order to be okay, because sometimes that makes their life, they were fine. And now you told them this shit to make yourself feel better and relieve yourself of guilt. But now they are all screwed up in their head for no reason, really. Like they weren't the ones to be able to take the guilt from you. That's like internal stuff that you have to do on your own, of like forgiving yourself, right?
Yes, but I thought Jenn's reaction, again, now I would flip back, split personality, Judy, Jenn, but her reaction of, F him, I'm glad he's dead. It kicked up her feelings of, again, how could I miss this? What was I doing? I busted my ass to support this guy, and this is a thanks I get. And the fact that she was so trying to have a physical relationship and resume a physical relationship after her double mastectomy. And it also and it was, I think, a real statement, had a mastectomy, double mastectomy, how it freaks their husbands out and it cuts off you know, any kind of intimacy whatsoever, you know? So I kind of think it was an acknowledgement to women that have had breast cancer, which, you know, here she is rejecting her own body, and the guy or the person that they are intimate with can't handle it. That just adds another layer of, you know, feeling like there's something wrong with them physically, emotionally, spiritually, the whole kabang.
Yeah, totally. I 100% agree with that. I just think that in our own, in general, not in this specific scenario between these two characters, but me, if I'm feeling guilty about something, it really isn't always about who do I need to go confess to. Like in this scenario, it made Jenn and Judy feel better for Judy to like have that little confession of what she learned from the cheating. But I don't think in general, it always makes sense for the person with the guilty conscience to go to someone and confess.
I agree. I think it relieved Judy. It just reconfirmed, you know, after Jenn had her explosion in the bar and she went after Bambi, okay? But then when she went out, she got a cigarette, had a couple of cocktails, and then they, you know, Judy came out of the bar. Jenn kind of was like, okay, like she processed it and was trying to get back to normal. But then when Judy told Jenn about, you know, what Ted told Bambi about her being dead and dying of breast cancer, it kicked it all up again. But Judy was relieved of a guilty conscience and allowed her to move on.
Right.
How are we doing on time?
I'm with you. It's time for Ageless Advice.
You go first.
There's a lot in this one. I would say the ageless advice is when someone shows you who they are, believe them. I think that is when, for me, as a people pleaser, as someone who wants to fall for your potential, to believe all that you're capable of, I have gotten burned so many times by not just being like, oh, they were a dick in that one little moment that I wrote off and was like, oh, that was just a moment in time. No, that was a little microcosm of their entire existence. So
correct.
Yeah.
And I could follow up on actions speak louder than words. I know I've had a couple of girlfriends where, you know, the guy's a dick, he's gaslighting them, and oh, but he loves me and he says he's gonna change and he says he's gonna do X, Y, and Z, until he does it and until he lives up to his word, it's BS. You know, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. That's what my grandmother used to say. I was like, oh, well, I guess he's a duck. My advice is, and my Aunt Vicky gave this to me because, you know, being in quarantine and you're on top of your partner and they don't clean up the way you do. And all of a sudden you feel like, can I get away with burying them in the Berkshires and leaving? How far, how deep do I have to dig? Like, I can't believe he doesn't wash eggs off the plate. And it gets stuck and I have to scrub. And then I get ragey and all that stuff. But I don't mean to go on. If you're watching, honey, I love you. But you have to treat your relationship like an entity. So there's one side of the street, his side or their side looked upon as an entity, and you have to work at it. So that was my advice.
Okay.
You're looking like it didn't make sense. Does it make sense?
Yeah, you're just super choppy right now. So I'm getting what you're saying.
Just rattling on.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Bad bandwidth, people. Sorry. Bad bandwidth.
What I am really taking away from what you shared is, you know how autocorrect always changes FUCK to DUCK?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if it looks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck in autocorrect and everywhere else. There, I can swear without actually swearing. Thank you, autocorrect.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Meet us back here, same time, same place next Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. You can check us out on YouTube at Ageless Adventures and Instagram at Ageless Adventures. Marla, anything else you want to share before we say goodbye?
No, just watch, like, subscribe, and contact us if you want some ageless advice.
Yeah, leave your questions. We'll answer with some sage ageless advice, good or bad.
Oh, sage. Sage. And wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
We're never getting out. I love you.